This is an example problem of a standard normal distribution, also known as a standard normal curve. So the first question is, what is the probability of the standardized value c being less than 1.22? This one's quite straightforward. All we need to do is find the value 1.22 on the standard normal probability table, and we would get our answer. Now, if we just looked up the value 1.22 on the standard normal probability table, we would get the proportion, or the chance of it being towards the left, which is what it wants. So if this were to be the standard table, we would get everything towards this area right here, which happens to be the answer 0.88. The next question is, what is the probability of z being greater than or equal to negative 1.58? So it was referring to a negative value that's probably around this area right here. It wants to know what are the chances z will be greater than this value, so it's going to be everything over here. Whenever you search up a value on the table, you always get something that's towards the left, but we want something towards the right. Therefore, all we do is find this value, this negative 1.58 on the table, then we do 1 subtract that probability you got, probability of z being less than negative 1.58, and that would give you the area right over here to the right, and that will give you your answer of 0.9429. The next question is, what is the probability of z being greater than negative 6.61? Now, you have to keep in mind we're talking about a normal distribution. This roughly goes up to 3 and negative 3. First off, where is negative 6.61 on this distribution here? Well, that's going to be roughly way over here, right? Now, it's generally stated that whenever something is exceeding at least 4, the probability of it's going to be either 0 or 1, depending on what you're asking. So what's the probability that something's going to be greater than negative 6.1? Well, that's going to be nearly exactly 1. Just because the 6 value is incredibly far away, but the probability of getting something less than it is pretty much minute. Therefore, the answer is going to be 1, because the probability of getting something that negative is going to be very, very small. The next question is, what is the probability of the standardized z value equaling 1.99? Let's say 1.99 was right here. Well, you're essentially finding the area. You can't put this value into the table and expect to get your answer, because it's asking what is the probability of exactly equaling 1.99. That's going to be the probability, or rather the area of a line, and that is going to be 0. Therefore, the probability in a normal distribution of something equaling anything is always going to be 0. You can only really have something being greater than or less than something when you're dealing with normal distributions, or rather I should say normal curves. Now the next question is, what is the probability of negative 0.81 being less than z and z being less than 0.66? So what is the probability that z is going to be within that range? Well, in order to solve this, we know those are already standardized z values, because you can always tell that whenever they put a z value inside this whole probability statement right here. Now that we know that, all we have to do is find these values here, this one and this one, on the normal probability table. So you would do probability of getting z that's less than 0.66, subtract the probability of z being less than negative 0.8. Now all you have to do is find these values right here, this one and this one on the table. You would get some value out. Then you would subtract this one here by this one over here, and that would give you your answer of 0.5335. Okay, so I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please ask in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer them, and I hope you're having a nice day.